Welcome back to our show. Once again, my name is Mrs. Augustina and have me welcome my friend, Mrs.
Glory and Augustina. Welcome back to our Sweet Home Africa. It's always a pleasure to have you once again as our viewer. Alright, today, once again, we have another topic.
Yes.
Okay, and it's a great topic because I know a lot of you will be, interested in hearing this topic.
Okay, I am.
So, it's time for Africans to examine our national debts. I mean, every country in Africa, you hear, oh, they borrowed from China, they borrowed from India, they borrowed from this place, and they borrowed from... And unfortunately, we don't see the money being utilized in our countries. We don't have skyscrapers, we don't have companies and everything, and we keep on
good road.
Exactly. We keep on wondering, I mean, where did the money that they borrowed go to? So that's what my friend and I will examine today, to find out if actually, if we owe foreigners or if foreigners owe us as Africans. Because I think they came to a place and took a lot of things. So let's examine who owes who. Because maybe it's them that owe us and not us that owe them. Alright, so my dear friend, I'll throw it to you.
Let me tell you, first and foremost, if you borrow, you owe.
Okay.
But the point is, did we borrow actually, or...
Did we borrow cash?
Yes. Or, what did we borrow?
Or was it a deal? That's another thing. Yes. Okay.
Okay, so that's the way I look at it. To me, we did not borrow from them.
Okay.
We did not borrow from nobody, and we don't owe anybody, and we shouldn't pay anybody anything, because we are looking at it. If we borrow, we got to have that money and utilize it and know what we have to do with it. Now, when we say we are building a skyscraper, like you said, if we're building a skyscraper, how many engineers come from that continent, from our continent?
Oh, so that means, I understand what you're trying to say.
Yes.
So that means the people that say that we borrowed from them came to our place to build the structures.
That's right.
So they are the engineers. They're the ones that brought the raw material.
The infrastructures, everything we have.
So they're the ones that even told us how much whatever they built cost.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
So in that case, everything, it was, like we said, they're the engineers, the raw materials that they brought, and everything, the caterpillars and everything.
And the technical know-how, because they draw the sketch.
Okay.
They brought it, they know what they want. And eventually when they finish, maybe we have to pay them money because the land belongs to Africans. So every other thing, until that total package is fixed and doing, we start dancing around it, come from another place. So we did not know how much it will cost us for the manpower to come and do it. Everything they did, we are happy, we trust them. So and they give us a bill. And that bill, we cannot say, no, it's okay, we're going to pay you, you finish it, we think it belongs to us. Like in the case of Kenya, right now they are unable to pay their debts. And guess who is there? The Chinese people.
So they lost the building. They lost the building.
Not only they lost the building, they get their own police now in Kenya. Chinese police are now operating in Kenya. And then, to me, what are they going to do to them? They're putting them back into slavery because we did not read the fine print. Remember, Africans don't read? We did not read the fine print. We just know that they're going to come and build what? Skyscrapers. And they build it. Then now the money tripled. They cannot pay for it. So what are we doing? We are mortgaging our children's future. And it's not like we have that building. We don't need it. So all we have to do is we look back and say, after us, what happens? What happened to our children? What are we leaving for them? So we need to think. We need to read the fine print. If you cannot read and you're in position, let your assistant read. Let somebody else go with somebody so that you make a decision, you think about it before you get into any agreement. My dear, let me stop. Go ahead.
Actually, when you were talking, I was thinking, I said, before our people sign these contracts, do they usually actually read through the contracts?
Africans don't read.
Exactly, because I had, even when we talked about the borrowing, but like we said, our analysis, these are very simple analysis. Like, we have understood that it's not even money that they went over there to get. Most of the time, it's just the contracts. Come and do this here, come and mine the gold or drill the oil, and then when you finish, this is how much we're going to pay you. So when they bring their own engineers to drill the oil, then they give you the bill.
They come with their own equipment.
They come with their own equipment, and then they give you the bill, telling them that telling you that you owe them.
And why they're there, I don't want to cut you. Why they're there? They come to build those things. We give them driver. We give them cook. We give them steward. We give them a good place, a decent place in Africa to live. Even their dog, we feed them. So this is the problem.
So that means they owe us.
They owe. Because they owe us. We don't owe them because
I'm so sorry that I'm telling you, when we take our time to analyze this, we don't owe foreigners. Foreigners really owe us because they came to our life and they took so many things from us. So
we feed their dog. This is not funny. We got to do this again. We got to do this again. We have to go cover this again.
Oh my gosh.
This is not a joke, but it looks like it's funny. So
we
just have to know that business is business, a deal is a deal. You're not going to pay somebody for doing work for you. Eventually you have to pay for their own accommodation. You pay for their driver, you give them car, you call a company car. Company everything, at the end they add everything onto that loan you say you took from them. And then the money will just triple. And you're looking at it, then in 10 years you cannot be able to pay for it. And now they will come back and take the building because they know how they design it.
Exactly.
Because what they have it at the back of their mind that, look, when I'm done, they're not going to be able to pay when time comes. And then we are rejoicing, celebrating, treating them as the king and queen, and call our women, everybody to celebrate them. But they have other things at the back of their mind because you don't even know how much this will cost you. So we have to be very, very careful before we enter or get into any contract, sign things that will take the whole continent or the whole country back to slavery. So please, it is so disheartening when we see that in 2020, a part of Africa that was once had their independence, is now being policed around by the Chinese people. So other Africans, take note before you go and borrow any other thing. My dear,
thank you so much, my friend, because actually when I think of it, it's more like a premeditated action. So they knew exactly what they were going to do
business.
In Africa, because exactly just like you said, they know that we won't be able to pay the debt. I mean, in terms of not borrowing, like we said, how we analyze it, but they know very well that if they finish building this building or doing this, that we are not capable of paying them back. So that means they will hold us in bondage. All right, so my fellow Africans, I mean, this is very serious because here in the Western world, people live for the next generation. When they do things, they're like, all right, let's do this so that children will not get into trouble later in life. But it looks like we have so much selfish desire that during our own generation, everyone wants to get whatever they can get and keep it so that when they die, they don't care what happens to the children. But look at it this way. If we really love our children in Africa, I think we should be doing our best to make sure that life is better for them when we're dead and gone. Because when many of you sign contracts, and you sign it, if you sign a contract that is almost 50 years, what did you do? You have put your generation in bondage. So your children and your grandchildren and your great-grandchildren will be in bondage. So we have to examine what we're doing in Africa. Because it's almost like, I've said it before, the whole world is laughing at us as if we are foolish. We are not foolish. We're very intelligent people. But you don't have to allow people to come into your continent again and manipulate you at this time. I mean, God gave every continent their own national resources. So what you could do, we said it over and over. Let everyone stay in their own continent and then do what is called fair trade. If they are coming, let it be very clear. If you want silk, okay, I will give you silk and then you give me cocoa. If you want this, so that's what fair trade is. You don't have to stay there and allow people to come into your continent and manipulate you and then exploit you. And another thing, actually, my friend, that's another area that we'll go into. Because when you think of it, you're like, all right, who allows them to get so deep as to exploit us? It's our people.
It's our people, yeah.
Because the bribery and corruption, you sell your brothers. when they come to you, maybe they will give you like a little bit of money to be able to get into the oil, the oil well, or may go into the gold mine or go into the silver, and they give you a little bit of money. Then what you do, you allow them to penetrate and be able to, exploit your own people. Think of what you're doing. It's a crime, actually. I look at it like a crime. Why would you just take a little bit of money and then sell your own people?
That's a little bit disturbing, because the betrayal is way too much.
And that was, I'm sorry to interrupt you actually. That was what brought slavery in the first place. Because they went through our people and they were able to bribe them to get into the, into the villages and everywhere to be able to take people as slaves. So that's exactly what we're doing in our own generation now with our own natural resources that God gave us. So you're allowing people to go through you to be able to exploit your people. Examine what you're doing. Go ahead, my friend. I'm sorry to interrupt.
No. You're trying to bring your point across, and which is so helpful to what we are saying. My own, what actually I wanted to say is that the betrayal, when you get to office, if you have to betray your continent or your country, or even your kinsmen, in order to maybe get what you
just
want,
a tiny bit of money,
just for you. You don't care about the people around you or the people that will come after you. It's a little bit, I would say, that you're selfish. But being that you're selfish, and every human being is selfish in one word or the other. But when you are placed in a particular position to represent a country, to represent an organization, to represent anybody, make sure you represent them to the extent when you get out, if nobody say you tried, you give yourself a pat on the back.
Exactly.
Because what Africans are doing now, or some countries in Africa are doing now, I look at it like they are mortgaging their children's future.
That's true.
Because if you have to be there, your own police are there, and another continent all over the place from nowhere come to police you, come to order you around, and repossess what they say you owe them. Now, are you charging them for the land? Because the land is ours.
Exactly.
So now they're there because you owe them. How are you going to get them out? Maybe the person that signed that contract with them is no longer in office. That's where the problem is. Do we have the documentation that that person signed? How do now Kenya at least, or South Africa, let me focus on Kenya, how do they redeem themselves from these people now that come and lay siege in a place? Who authorized them to come? So when we give somebody the key to our house, they're going to come in. So we need to now learn from what is happening to other parts of the world. When they borrow, if they cannot pay, then you lose your right in your own country, in your own continent, in your own home. Other people will come to order you around. So please, let's learn, let's stop borrowing, and now get on them and ask them to give us back everything that belongs to us, that have been in their possession. Because they're looking at African leaders as corrupt.
Exactly.
They're looking at us like we don't know what we are doing, because if you know who, you get in our office. And then when you get there, you become a figurehead. When you go outside for the world meeting or whatever, they see you. They know. How many of you ask questions? What do you say when you get there? Do you start making notes, or you start nodding, sleeping? So this is the point. So we have to, like my friend said, we are so smart. We know what to do. We need to talk. We need to represent ourselves the way we know best, that it will benefit our own country, the way it will benefit the individuals in Africa. So we have to stop signing things that we don't know, we didn't read, or we cannot understand, because everybody cannot understand it. They didn't write it in our own dialect. That's a borrowed language. You don't understand it? Do not be afraid, or do not be ashamed to say, okay, I won't sign this today, can I take it home?
That's true. You
take it home. You make sure you understand what you're signing before you mortgage our life again, before you mortgage the life of the leaders of tomorrow.
That's true.
Because when you sign this 50 years, 100 years, that's a problem. Because by then the documents might not even be there. So please, leaders, let's see how to redeem Kenya, so that Africans will be who they are, because we are smart. We got the know-how, but we neglect our own people. We have all those scientists. We have all those people that can build us skyscrapers. If we get together and start giving them our money outside, we can do better instead of borrowing. My dear.
Thank you so much, my friend. You said it all. I don't have that much to add, but let me push it in a little bit. I know we talked at length, and everybody will be wondering. You know, it's almost like we keep on identifying the problem, and that's what everybody may have been talking about. But what is the solution? All right. So my suggestion is this: with everything that is going on in the world right now, with all the reshuffling.
New beginning.
Businesses, like you said. I know I keep on repeating this, the borders are closed. No export, no import. I think it's time to renegotiate. Yes, you made a mistake with signing whatever you signed or going into any contract that you have gone into. But you can renegotiate. Tell them, let's sit on the table again. Let's review what we signed before and see where we can come in the middle and see what we can do to at least get things to a certain standard. Okay, let's say they signed a contract for 50 years. Bring it with the coronavirus that is going on now, with everything, the whole world running helter-skelter, because actually right now everybody were just focusing on the health, but right after the health issue now, the economy, almost all the countries' economy have crashed as we speak. No matter people are doing their best, I mean countries are doing their best holding on to their economy, but it's crashing. So this is an opportunity now to sit down and renegotiate. Renegotiate with China, renegotiate with India, renegotiate
everywhere
that you borrowed from.
You say you borrowed from.
Exactly. And then tell them, you know, this is what is going on now, the economy is not good, how do we rewrite the contracts? Go ahead and rewrite the contract. Bring lawyers in Africa, let them sit down and review the contracts again and see where we can mend things and then release ourselves from bondage. Because actually what you're doing is putting all of us in bondage. Your next generation, you're putting them into slavery. So even if you're a millionaire now, when you die, your children are going to go into slavery because
your grandchildren, somebody, somewhere.
Somehow. So renegotiate. That's what we need to do now. And well, I don't know if you have more things to put.
Yeah, I told them, I said before they sign anything, like you brought the lawyers in. So I know that in when you have the executive, you have the judiciary. So you can have somebody that is okay with international laws, that knows something about real estate or any other thing. When you go into things like that, make sure the person go with you, if possible. The person can go with you and be able to read all those things. Read the fine print. If you cannot understand the fine print, tell them this deal we cannot do it. Africa is better without all those things. We don't need no more debts on our body. So please, let's remember the next generation. Let's remember what our forefathers went through. Let's remember what South Africa went through with before they get their independence. We already got our independence. We don't need to borrow. What God gave us, our natural resources, mineral resources, everything we have in Africa will sustain Africa. If we manage it well, if we handle it well, if we get the right people, those that are specialized in that particular field to be there will be productivity. And then we're going to see the products. But if you hire your nephew, your cousins, and whatever, nothing. Africa will still be the way it is. And then we're looking outside to go borrow. So, our leaders, let's think. Let's pause a little bit and know that our future, the future of Africa, is in your hand. If you are in a position now, it is in your hand. Please do not trash it. Just make it worth living. Let the people be comfortable. Instead of them getting police from another country, obviously, they might not hear the language, they might not understand the language. What will happen to your people? What will happen to the indigents? Alright, so let's think before, let's look before we leap. Because Africa is a blessed place, right?
Exactly. And to cap it actually, there's one thing that I need to add. We need to believe in ourselves. Yes. Because I think that's the major problem that we have. When we talked about the engineers that are coming from other countries to build, you know, mine and do everything, it's because we don't believe in ourselves. So if we can believe in our engineers, believe in people that we have at home, that are capable of doing the same thing that foreigners are doing, then I think we'll be fine, because then these are our indigents. They can do the same work that people are doing. And then if you have to, I mean, you don't even have a need to go and import doctors, to go and import engineers, to go and import people, when we have so many Africans that are highly skilled in all these areas. So I think it's time for us to look, you know, inside within us, exactly, to find out what we have, and be able to utilize what we have. Because if we use what we have, we won't be able to
get what we want.
Exactly. So we won't go out to start borrowing, because I think that's what is costing a lot of money. I mean, siphoning the whole money out of Africa, because we keep on borrowing. But the borrowing is, we're borrowing professionals from outside. So it's time for us to start using our own professionals in Africa. All right, so my dear friend,
I think, well, they say a word is enough for the wise.
Yes.
We are just begging them because we want a better continent. We want to leave something good, better for our children, so they can have a better living than we right now are having, so they don't have to die in the desert.
Okay. So thank you so much. Thank you so much. So the main thing, the last point is renegotiate and then utilize our own professionals so that we will stop borrowing.
That's right.
Okay, so thank you once again for watching us. It's always a pleasure to have you as our viewer. All right, so I know many of you have commented and we have replied to some of your comments. Once again, the ones that we have not replied to their comments, we'll get to you. So thank you for always watching us. And as my friend always say, subscribe, subscribe, subscribe. All right, so thank you so much. And watch us again next week at our sweet home, Africa. Thank you.
All right, bye, and God bless you.